Hi. How's
Hey,
everybody
everybody.
doing? Welcome. Bev, thank you for joining us tonight.
Thanks for having me on, Linda.
Oh
Got a
my
lot on tap tonight, don't we?
Yeah, you know what? If you weren't here with all this information that we have to share tonight, I don't even think I'd be on here because it's just that busy. Is there's so much going on. So let me just give a quick synopsis here for everybody joining us live. Thank you for joining us tonight, guys. It's really nice to see you. Hey, Betty. I'm looking at my comments. I'm going to have to come back to you guys in a little bit with the comments because we've got some very interesting things to talk about tonight. Bev has the lowdown on the astrology and everything that's happening. That's pretty incredible. It's going to explain why some of this, a lot of the stuff we're all going through, we're all going through it. So it's almost like we're preaching to the choir. But this information, if you're not familiar with some of the astrology things, Bev's going to fill you in. We're going to stick around a little bit later. So, like, when we're done the astrology portion of it, I'm going to send out some transmissions through my crystal ball and some code activations for everybody that I'm going to send on the grid. So stick around to the end for that. And if you can't watch the replay, if it's still up on YouTube, if we don't say anything that gets censored, um,
Nah,
I first would like to just welcome everybody again. I want to start with just a couple of deep breaths because I know I need to calm my energy systems down. You know, Bev, it's been a challenge just to get here where we're at.
yes, yes,
So
very much so.
if everybody doesn't mind, just take a minute and center yourself. Okay. Close your eyes or get comfortable and just take in a couple deep, relaxing, slow breaths. Let your energy systems calm down. Bring everything into the center point. Bring everything into the quantum now space in the center of your heart complex. And know the truth of who you are. On your out breath, just send out all of your love light blessings to the grid and know that you are receiving as you are giving. It's a reciprocal in and out breath. You are connected. You are receiving. You are love. You are light. Okay. All right. Thank you, everybody, for joining us tonight. Bev has got quite a lot of information for us, or some very intense information for us. And I know she was doing some channeling, getting this information, talking to her soul, because I already know what she's going to say for some things. No, not
Yes.
tonight. I know the bullet points maybe, but when your soul starts going, it's got so much. All right, why don't you kick it off and tell it, let everybody know what's happening right now. Like, where are we at today, and what are we looking at? Because
Okay, I'm just gonna kind of do an overview and then kind of get a little into each subject. Today we have Jupiter stationing direct, which when a planet goes direct after being retrograde, it's a big deal. So if anybody's feeling the energies today and that motivation, and it's just going to ramp up here. So we have today, which is the 20th, Jupiter going direct, and then we have the solstice on the 21st, and then we have the Capricorn new moon on the 20. Excuse me, the solstice on the 21st and the Capricorn new moon on the 23rd, and Chiron stations direct that same day. So we have quite the aspects and quite the astrology right now. It's been really intense. I know too. We've got had since yesterday. We've had the Sun conjunct the Galactic Center too, so it's bringing in all the galactic energy that happens once every year. So on top of all these aspects, we have just been really the energy coming in. I don't know if anybody's feeling it out there, but if you are, you're not alone.
how can you not feel it? It's been, I want to know. I want to know more about Jupiter. I really want to know more about Jupiter because it's such a big planet. It has such an influence on us. And can you talk a little bit about what Jupiter is to us, what it means, and then what it's doing right now in its cycle, because it's huge. If it stations direct, that's what you said today.
Today
No,
it's
on the
station direct.
yeah, today it's stationed direct, and
Yes,
it's beginning a 12-year cycle, right?
yes. It takes 12 years for it to complete a full cycle around the zodiac. So we're beginning a whole new 12-year cycle. So it starts in Aries and works its way around. and it'll take 12 years to do that. And depending on retrogrades and going direct, then it's a different amount of time in each sign. So, but it takes 12 years to complete the cycle.
It's just incredible thinking about 12 years, because that's a long time. Even thinking about 10 years, what you were doing 10 years ago when the Mayan calendar ended.
Yes.
It's like
Yes.
thinking of the decade, a whole decade. What have you done in the last 10 years? If you just ask yourself that question, it's crazy to think about it. But this is a 12-year cycle with Jupiter, and it's so influential. So
Yes.
yeah, tell us more about Jupiter. What's going on there? Third
Well,
time.
Jupiter, you look at it as Jupiter is the expander. It's about higher knowledge. It's about learning. It's about travel. It's a big mover and shaker, and Jupiter just makes everything bigger. Jupiter rules Sagittarius, so a lot of the things that you relate to Sagittarius and Jupiter, they kind of go hand in hand. And we wrapped up the cycle. Jupiter first went into Aries on May 10th. Okay, so we got up to Aries, it got a little ways, and then on July 28th, it went back retrograde. So it went back over that 0 point of Aries. On October 28th, it went back to Pisces in that last 2 degrees of the zodiac. And we kind of been talking to that for a while. So when Jupiter went back into Pisces, we were ending up that last 12-year cycle. So that was in Pisces, you were digging up those last things. It was the last purging, the last, just going through the spiritual lessons, getting things out, healing, and knowing, okay, this is done now. So here we are. Jupiter is at the beginning of Aries, and now what are we going to take ahead that we learned and that we purged during that time?
It's interesting with Jupiter though, because I have this thing with Jupiter, because I always see it as like, when you say it's the expander, Jupiter, it's like my friend, my buddy, my brother, I don't know, my bro star.
Yes.
How can a planet be your bro star? But it just feels like it hasn't been the right time, but everything that's lining up, including yesterday, today, and tomorrow with the Galactic Center, and tomorrow being the solstice. It's crazy to think about how all these things line up and synchronize, and they affect our lives on a daily basis. I mean, over here in the comments, hey, Scotty, how you doing? Amy, hello. Alicia Rose, nice to see you. Thanks. Jade from View. Betty, guys, thanks for joining us.
Thanks, everybody.
Yeah, they're talking about see, I take my glasses off and then I'm squinting and I can't see. I don't know why I do that. I guess I'm still getting used to them. Lots of energy right now. Everybody's feeling it. All getting up, bouncing off the walls for a couple of days. So yeah,
yes.
And not being able to sleep, trying to get to sleep and tossing and turning until 3 a.m. or something. Sometimes it's crazy. 4. I don't know about you guys, but I still feel this peace though. Like, I feel like I know everything's okay. Everything's lining up exactly how it's supposed to. And it seems like nothing's a problem. Even when there's problems, it's not my problem. Not that I'm spiritual bypassing. When I have a problem, I know I have a problem. But yeah, sorry, go ahead. I know I interrupted you there.
That's all right. Well, going into Aries, you think about it. Aries is the first sign, and Aries is a fire sign. So Aries wants to go, hey, look at this, let's go, let's do this. And Jupiter's blowing that up. So you have to watch for the lower expressions of Aries though, too. The impatience, the wanting to just be impulsive, do this now. Wait a minute, I want this and I want it now. So you got to balance that energy out. And if you use the higher expressions, of Aries and use it to your advantage, you can see how it works. So if you look back in May, June, or July, there may have been things that kind of got to a start and you had ideas and you had plans, but as it went to retrograde, retrograde is all the RE words, reassess, reprioritize, review. So we've done that back and forth dance with Jupiter going retrograde over the 0 point, back and forth. So we're in like I said, the last pass here, and it's going. So what we're doing is we reprioritize what is truly in alignment with your authentic self and what will go the distance. So in the end of Pisces there, we did that final digging deep and dug up those things, finished healing those issues, seeing what no longer fits. We may have had ideas and things that started out at the first of the year, and now we find out at the end of this whole Jupiter cycle and going into all this that it's not even what we're interested in anymore. It's just taking a look and making sure that you're in alignment with your authentic self. And is this what's going to go forward? And this is what I want to do, because I'm starting this 12-year cycle. What do I want to start my new chapter on? What do I want to base it on? What brings me joy? What truly is me? And now, how do we do this from here?
Oh my God.
And it's based on learning and healing and the wisdom that you gain from the retrograde period, and clearing out those last 2 degrees of the whole astrological cycle in Pisces.
God, if that ain't the truth. I mean, the whole season of August could have been called the Great Purge, and it wouldn't have been a joke.
Yes.
Right? All right. Well, I think a lot of the people that watch this channel too, a lot of you guys out there, when something's coming around, when it's, as Angel calls it, the poop loop, when something's coming around that poop loop again, it's either, do you want to live with this again? Like, you don't know how long that cycle's going to be. You don't know how long that spiral is going to be. Everything's in a spiral, including our galaxy and the universe and all that. So like, here we are spiraling up so that we want to spiral up. We don't want to go on the poop loop and stay down. And this is what we were doing through all of autumn. For years actually, but but this everybody across the board seems like they were, what doesn't resonate, what resonates, and what do you get rid of? Get rid of this, get rid of that. Old programs like it, but everybody's speaking the same language now. Have you noticed it?
Yes, a lot.
Yep. People are all talking astrology. They're talking energy. They're talking simulation. They're talking in the language that they understand. Like, wait, we have a spirit. We are a mind, body, system complex. And they're starting to realize they're not their body. That's huge.
It's amazing to see people talk about things, because, before you kind of got looked at weird if you talked about astrology or whatever. But I think, this is the ascension. This is everybody waking up and realizing. And I think more and more, we've seen, it's like kicking the can, Linda. I know we talked about this. It seems like it's taken forever, but you know what? Look at the last 2 years. It feels like we've lived 20 years in the last 2. Come on now.
Yeah.
So that's why it's been so intense, and it seems so long. And our patience may have worn a little thin, but it's taken all this stuff. And this is rare astrology. These are rare aspects. Things don't line up like this. There's no coincidence. You couldn't make it up. You look at the creator up there going, okay, and his mind is so complex, or her, and putting all these things, lining it up. There's just so much to it. It's all connected, as we said, Linda.
It's all connected. We've been saying that a lot lately. Like the pieces of a puzzle, because Bev and I were both, she recommended Manifest to me. So I was watching that, having a play in the background. Yeah. And they say it's all connected in there a lot. And it's about, every piece of the puzzle, but we've used these analogies before we even saw the show. So it's kind of neat how everything does kind of fit together like that. And we're all starting to see like birds of a feather, literally, it's like keep your tribe. I don't say keep your tribe small. We have tribes that interlock, like, those Venn diagrams where you have like, you don't trust the government, or you're afraid of COVID, and then you don't trust the pharmaceutical companies. And then you can be in the middle. You can be all 3 of those things, or whatever, so like they do Venn diagrams for things for a reason. And it's the same thing with all of this astrology. And
and the numbers, the numerology.
Yes.
Yes. How many numerological things have we seen in the last day or two and just laughed about it? It's been amazing.
All right, I'm going to ask everybody watching here too. Now, let me jump over here to the comments real quick, because are you guys seeing the numbers? Are you getting the alignments with that? Is everybody seeing repeating numbers? And Amber, how you doing? Welcome. Just recognizing now. I agree with that feeling. All right. Yeah. See, everything is going to be okay. It really is. It's like everybody's talking about cellular memory, cellular healing, cellular. I'm calling it cellular. I've been calling it cellular for probably half a year now. I don't know. It just started coming in. There's cellular memories. We're all bringing our pieces of our soul, and that's encoded in our DNA. And we're starting to unlock that. We are unlocking those in mass, and we're remembering things. So we're remembering that it's all going to be okay. Somehow it's like we've been, if it's circular, we've done this before here, even though we don't remember. I know, Linda and the woo-woo stuff. But anyway, let's get back to the astrology a little bit, because I know there's more, and I could go off all night. Stick around later if you want to hear like tangents, and you want to stick around for all that, because we've got stuff to talk about with numbers and codes and all that.
It's been hard to stay grounded. And I don't know, leading up to this, I don't know if any of you have had a couple hard weeks, but it's been going through those last 2 degrees of that Jupiter and Pisces. I know I did a lot of purging, and I got to a point that I have never reached in myself, but I saw the growth. So when you have a moment that sometimes you may think, I don't know how I got through it, and I'll just share it with you. I got so angry. I have not been that angry in a long time. And I started to react, and I thought, no, that's not who I am anymore. So I came in my room and I sat, put the earbuds on, put a meditation on for a while, and sat in the dark. And I sat in the dark with no sound for about 4 hours till I finally calmed down. I was that angry.
Oh.
And I thought, where did this come from? I mean, it was just, I guess it had been things that have been building up or whatever and doing that last. But you know what? I learned how not to let it control me. I learned to sit down and bring myself back to center. And I sat here until it did.
Yes.
I thought, no, I'm not going back to the older version of myself. So during all this, when you're looking at starting a new cycle with Jupiter, look and see, go back those 12 years and look at how far you've come, what's happened since then. Look at all the things that you've overcome. Look at all the things that have been positive. I mean, I know it's been a hell of a couple of years since all this crazy stuff began, but you know what? When you really look and start putting the pieces together, sometimes we'll think, oh, I've been through this or that, but you don't start following the sequence of what one after another, and you see how far you've grown. And that's what this Jupiter is about too. So it ended up those things. You see how far you've grown, and now you can take it and go forward on this next year, 12-year cycle, and try to make the best of it.
Mm-hmm. That's all you. Well, yeah, and you know what too? I think I heard somebody talking recently about getting in back in your head or not your heart or whatever, and it's like, no, don't ever listen to anybody who tells you to be in your head. You have to use your head for sensical things, but your head, you're not using your brain that we use our ego and the programming part of it. We're not doing
Right.
that. We're using
Right.
our heart for the guidance that we get our inner communications through our mind system. So yes, you can use your mind system in your inner guidance, but don't ever listen to people that are telling you now the love and light community needs to get more in their head. No,
No.
stay in your
No.
heart. Don't listen to those headers.
Yeah, that linear mind can get you in trouble. Let me tell you, it will put you on that poop loop. And yeah, so no, my mom always said to me, follow your heart and you'll never go wrong. And you know, I found a cup after she passed away that said that on there, and that's just always stuck with me. So,
Well, speaking of new beginnings, Bev, can you talk a little bit about the 0 degrees of cardinal signs too? I love your mom. I love
yeah,
when she pops in with things and everything. I know she's here guiding you along too.
oh, no doubt about it. Um, Talking about the solstice, okay, so we have the solstice, the 21st of December. So the solstices and are all in the cardinal signs. When you get into, so you have like the beginning of the year, you have the Aries starting the astrology cycle, and that's in the spring. And then you have Cancer season, which is another cardinal sign that begins this summer. Then you have Libra, another cardinal sign, which is the fall. And then Capricorn is the fourth and final cardinal sign, and that begins the winter, depending on, you know, whether you're in the northern or southern hemisphere. But anyway, so those are all at 0 degrees of the cardinal signs, and that's initiation and new beginnings. So what it is, you start Aries season, so you go through Aries, Taurus, and then, oh, I'm going blank here. Yeah, I don't have my chart. Anyway, the first 3 signs until you get to Cancer, okay? Gemini.
Gemini, yes.
How could I forget Gemini? Yeah.
No. Well, I'm sure Gemini's going to have you talking about them in a minute, right? Isn't
Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead.
So you start at that 0 point of Aries. So you learn all the way up through till you get through Gemini, and you start in the Cancer, and that takes the energy forward. So it's like it's a quarter of the zodiac, and that's how it's split in those 4 cardinal signs, and that's called the world axis. So anytime anything is at 0 degrees of Aries, Cancer, Libra, or Capricorn, it's all about new beginnings, initiations, and starting new things. So that's what this Capricorn solstice is about. So we're beginning Capricorn season. We're also beginning the solstice. And what happens with this is it kind of shows you on the themes that you'll be working on for the next 3 months. So you look at the Capricorn lessons. Capricorn's kind of about the mentor, the guru, people we looked up to. It could be a spirit guide, a new spirit guide coming in. Capricorn's also the responsible adult Yeah. I don't like that word. It's about adulting. Capricorn will say,
Adulting.
okay,
There you
yeah, it's
go.
kind of like Saturn. Saturn rules Capricorn. So there you go. It's the
Okay.
adulting, being responsible, knowing I have these responsibilities. Okay, how can I take care of this and still do what I need to get done and stuff like that. So it's, when we get in this in Capricorn, okay, we're at the end of the calendar year, not the astrological year. And I find it funny how the season, so at the end of December, what do? We make our New Year's resolutions. We look at everything and we see the things that we want to improve on. So this falls right into the astrology too. And people don't always realize that too when you talk about astrology. So I thought that was a really good point to bring out. So you
Well,
look back, you
that would-
reflect and say, okay, here's what I've learned throughout the year. Now this is what I want to do.
so would that be at the end of the winter? So starting in spring then, wouldn't for astrology? Because it don't they have the calendar like off from what the astrology really is?
Yeah, actually, this astrological year begins with a new moon in Aries. That begins the new astrological year every year. So you start with the solstice on December 21st in Capricorn season. So as
Oh,
the sun goes through each sign, it will highlight those areas. So the sun will be in Capricorn, then it'll move ahead. And as you go through those first three signs, you take those lessons forward, but your basis will be in that Capricorn area. And then you see how
uh,
you take it forward. You,
yeah, I get
you
it.
following me?
I get
Okay.
it. I get it. Hey, wow, ding dong, one for Linda.
No, this is stuff that, I had to learn too, because you get excited about learning things and you have to stop and look at the details. And sometimes I'm bad about that. I just want to learn all I can. So now, kind of to make it things that struck me as, oh, wow, I didn't see that,
Mm.
and that's kind of why I'm sharing that. But,
Well, thank
um,
you for sharing that because that had an aha light bulb moment for me that the 0 degrees of a cardinal sign is starting out the new. And people that know astrology, I'm sorry if I'm beating a dead horse for you guys here. I hate that analogy. Why did I even say that? Um, yeah, sorry about that. I'm getting it. Like I had that light bulb moment and it just clicked it because initiations and new beginnings, well, 0 degrees, it makes it not, it ties into the numbers. It makes
yeah,
sense. It's, it's like pieces to the puzzle being put in and aha. So like I had that moment. So I'm really, really glad you broke that down because I didn't ask you to do that. You just channeled that and sent it through. So if I'm learning this too, there's probably somebody who's watching this that maybe didn't know that as well. Hopefully.
yeah. Astrology is so deep, and there's so many things that you'll never learn it all. And I try to explain things that really help me understand. So that's why I was bringing up some of this tonight too. And I
So,
just had a thought, oh yeah, Linda, so if you want to take it a little deeper, okay, every astrology sign has 30 degrees. Okay. So they call the first decan, DECAN, of a sign 1 to 10 degrees. Then you have the 10 to 20 and 20 to 30.
mhm.
So there's a cycle within a cycle. You're starting and beginning something and going through those 30 degrees. So you can take it. I mean, you can take this stuff down the rabbit hole really deep. So that's how you start looking at your own chart. You can look at the deacon, see where things are at when you're at the beginning. So 0 degrees is a big deal. You're starting off in that sign now. What are you going to learn throughout that sign in those 30 degrees in that time period that you can take ahead and carry on to the next?
Nice. And I've been teaching about the solar seals over on my Patreon account for the new Earth Leadership level. I've been doing like 5. I broke down the 20 in 4 different parts. And it's interesting because the Zolkeen, the Mayan, the measurement to measure light, the Zolkeen, the calendar for light, light calendar, mixing in with astrology. Like, can you imagine if I'll bring in some of that, you bring in some of the astrology, and it's like, marrying them together in some ways to really see what's going on because you can't get it all from one perspective. It's too linear. We got
No,
to take a quantum perspective at these things now because you're talking about cycles within cycles. That's like literally like the wave spell is 13 days, and you have it. It ties in.
yes,
It all fits together. No, what'd you say? What was that?
it's
It
all
all
connected.
it's all connected.
It's
Yes.
all connected. That's like my new line after watching Manifest. I can't help it.
Yeah, it's our mantra now. Mine too.
Yes,
I just
but
forgot it.
yeah,
Right.
it's just amazing how you start looking at that. So you have numbers, and then you start breaking other things down, and yeah. But getting back to the solstice that we were talking about, so it's a time to reflect on. It's a time to just sit back and reflect. It's about long-term goals, and there's a seriousness to it and responsibility. Yeah, okay. Here are the last minute things I got to take care of to wrap up, by the end of the year. Let's start the new year out January 1st by the calendar year. Um, and it's showing us support for what we have learned in the last cycle. Hang on, I got lost here on my
No,
page.
that's
Sorry
okay.
about
Take
that.
your time. I just put a comment out from Amber because she said that makes sense now. So good. I'm not the only one that was having aha moments.
Good. And when you do this a while too, I don't think, and I remember things that helped me. So that's what I'm trying to do. Things that I've been taught, I think to go ahead and share because it really helped me a lot. So I'm glad.
Very good.
Okay, let me get back to, sorry about this. I'm kind of skipping around tonight, but this energy is, yeah.
No, you go where you're guided. You're doing a great job. You were talking about the solstice. So you were down under Capricorn season.
Okay.
Beginning
Got
of the
it.
solstice. And yeah.
I found it, Linda, believe it or not. Yeah. No, so during this solstice, we have the sun in Capricorn is squaring Jupiter in Aries, and that's about action. And the square is not always comfortable. It's a little uncomfortable, but Capricorn is supporting this by what we have learned through the last cycle. And like I said, it's about a mentor, a spirit guide. New people could show up that are part of your tribe. Capricorn will always give you the support when you take the wisdom forward and try to go ahead and use that for the long term. And Capricorn can slow down that impulsive Jupiter in Aries and ask the important questions. Okay, now this is what you want. Let's not jump out of the frying pan into the fire. Let's plan this out. So Capricorn is definitely a strong point in this chart. It's squaring Jupiter in Aries, but I think it's supporting Aries with that too.
Aries, a fire sign.
Yes.
Jupiter in Aries just sounds like fireworks.
And Capricorn is the earth sign, so let's bring it back down to earth.
Yeah.
Let's find a way to ground this and make it right. And Lord knows we need some grounding right now.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a great energy, but man, has it been strong.
I know I've found a lot of this energy. A lot of the time that I'm doing more so is the memories coming in, just keep grounding it, keep grounding it, keep bringing it in. It's not necessary to keep, we send things out on the grids, but it's like when it's meant for us or our healing and we're bringing it in through our stream, if we just bring it into here and then send it out, it's not doing the service that well, it is if you're intending it, but you know what I'm saying? If you ground it first, then you can pull it up to send it out and you're pulling from the collective and not yourself. It's just a way not to drain yourself. If you guys are feeling drained and you're doing a lot of grounding and you don't know why, try, if you're not doing a lot of grounding and you're feeling drained, that's why. So do some grounding before you're doing more energy work and that'll help.
Yeah, it's definitely a time to stay grounded too. That's a big deal, but we got the support from Capricorn right now. And let's see, during the solstice there too, the moon is going to be in Sagittarius during the solstice. Okay, so that represents legal and ethical concerns, which I find interesting for everything that's going on in the world that I try to step back from. And anyway, just throwing that out there. And also that moon in Sagittarius squares Mars retrograde in Gemini. So we all know this is the holiday season, and the way everybody has made everybody at odds on many different levels with different things. I'm trying to step over this. Hey, with politics, whatever, religion,
families, relationships, work. Yeah, all of it.
Just know that right now, stay open-minded and tolerant. Plan for delays or pauses and really think about, do I really need to say that before you speak? Because you have Jupiter in Aries there with the impulsivity, and you may pop off and say something that you really didn't mean to offend anybody. I mean, nobody wants to walk on eggshells, okay? Be your authentic self, but think before you speak, because it's really easy right now with that Mars retrograde in Gemini to say the wrong thing. And we all know, the holidays are hard for a lot of people. Getting together with family can be fun. I mean, just you have all the things going on. It's the season. That's all I can say.
It's felt more personal, more like what to say now. Whether or not to say it. And it's my favorite fortune cookie. I say that favorite fortune cookie saying, author unknown. I even put that in my book in the beginning is knowledge is knowing what to say, but wisdom is knowing whether or not to say it. And I feel like there's been this whole collective step over the wisdom bridge. A lot of us know
Yes.
now, like when not to bite your tongue, because sometimes, yeah, it might
No.
feel impulsive, like, oh my God, I just, you may or may not have those. If you have those moments and you're still going through that where, you're really being triggered, you still have the wisdom to know not to say something. So, congratulations, good job. Welcome
Yes.
home. This is your natural state of being. It's okay. It's okay. You don't have to say it all.
Yeah, it's kind of learning that, you know what, we can show by example. I mean, and it's hard not to speak about some things, but when I step back and I detach myself from all this stuff in the world that we can't control, what
Mhm.
really matters when you think about it?
Yeah.
It's about keeping the peace and staying centered. And believe me, that little episode a week or so ago taught me a whole lot. Just to sit and be still and know, you know what? It's not about you. You're just very frustrated and it's been a rough time. Just sit down and calm yourself down. And yeah, it'll
Yeah.
be all right. Knowing not to react. And it's not easy.
Well, Bev, I think spirit has messages for you too. You don't have to be angry to sit in a, in a meditative state.
Hey, listen, spirit broke my leg 2 years ago because I wouldn't sit down. Okay, we're just gonna break your leg. Now you can't put any weight on it for 6 weeks. Yeah. And I started my website and got things going. So it's like, hey, you can do it the easy way or the hard way. It's up to you, Bev. You know?
Oh my
So
God,
I laugh about that.
that's really funny. It's funny. I go through these periods like so much energy, and I keep feeling like warm touches and things and communications. It's great, but then oh my God, when you get tired, wow, do you get tired? It's like your body
Yeah,
tells you what to do. I hope you guys are all listening to your bodies. I hope you're all getting the
definitely.
rest that you need when you can. And if you're still in the rat race, if you're still plugged into the 3D system because you got to make car payments, you got to make your mortgage, you got to make your rent, you need food, like those kind of things. If you're still doing that, and you haven't found a side hustle yet, spirit may be giving you a nudge in the first quarter of, I think by springtime, things are going to be looking a lot different for those of you that are trying to manifest something better and different and living that dream life. If you're not already in your joy, it's coming.
Yes,
It is coming.
it is. And with these initiations and beginning, it's time to really start manifesting because I really see some great things coming up. I mean, we have that solstice. Okay. So we got Capricorn season beginning. We have the solstice. We have the support there. And then 2 days after the solstice, we have the Capricorn new moon. And Chiron stations direct that same day.
That's crazy.
Yes.
Chiron stationing direct the same day as the Capricorn new moon. All right, let's talk
Yes.
about this. Let's talk about this.
Okay. And the moon and sun are conjunct at 1 degree, 33 minutes in Capricorn. And again, that's initiation and new beginnings. And this is where you're initiating and beginning a new cycle in the Capricorn areas of your chart. So again, you step back and you look at it at the collective, and you can look at how things are playing out. But take a look at your chart and look at the Capricorn houses, and you'll see as the sun goes through each sign, whatever house it's in or houses in your chart, that's the area of life where things are coming through. So you can look back. I mean, with me, before I really got into astrology, I'd look back and say, every December was just a bad month, man. I can't remember a good one. And then I would look at my chart and go, oh, yeah, it was the adulting season of Capricorn, and just laugh about it coming out of Sagittarius season. And I got a lot of planets in Sagittarius. So, it starts to make sense. And when you put those pieces together, to me, that's where I came alive with astrology. I started looking, oh, wait a minute. Look at this over here. Now add this to it. Oh my gosh, this explains everything. It's that slapping your forehead moment going, why didn't I learn this earlier? So
Yeah.
to me, that's where my passion comes from about that. And it's those new initiations and beginnings that we're getting ready to go into. Again, Capricorn is the third and final earth sign, which represents the 3D. So you're looking at things changing in your 3D. And I'm sure at this point in time, we did that last of the purging there in Pisces and beginning the new cycle. I mean, look at how many things have changed in your life, or look at how many things that are falling away, things that don't resonate, maybe things you thought you would always do or enjoy and you just don't anymore.
Yeah.
You're finding new things that excite you, and just, I don't know, it's like we're meeting new parts of ourselves, and the new gifts are coming online. That's what I feel with this Galactic Center connection. I
All
believe
right.
that's flooding in big time.
All right. I didn't want to interrupt you on there, but that's a perfect segue for stick around after the astrology because Bev and I are going to talk about things like this. And I think we'll use that as a segue to go into that because I want to talk about just careers, different things that are changing that you didn't think you'd ever stop doing and new beginnings and also projects for humanity. I want to tell you guys, I want to give you, I want to share something.
It's amazing, Linda, how it fell into this because, I looked at this astrology before you and I talked about some of that stuff. So it's like, wow, I'm just watching it fall into place through the astrology.
I'm blown away too, because whenever we talk about something and then you mention the astrology, I'm like, all right. So when you said this is big, this is some big stuff. I mean, we know it is with the solstice. We know it is with certain things that, you're hearing and seeing all over the place. But when you start doing it and you're getting Nikola Tesla codes and you're getting your galactic kin, and then you're getting, when you start getting all the things line up.
Yes.
And that's in addition to all the plan. I don't want to take the wind away from what you're going to tell them about 2023, because that's just crazy. But all of these things, the alignments are crazy. It's like the macro and the micro, but we're getting to see it. We're getting to see our own alignments because, you guys know, drop it in the comments too. When you're aligned, when things feel just right and you're in the right place at the right time and you don't have to rush. It's almost like you can create time, even though you're bending time sort of, because in the linear, your 3D is bending it to the quantum, because in the galactic time, it's not the same way. And but you're not in a rush anymore. If you bump into somebody who, like, I know the universe wanted me to bump into somebody, like, say 2 weeks ago, and we almost talked. And then I bumped into the same person in the food store while I was with my mother. And we stood there for probably 15 minutes, yapping and yapping. And it was almost like a catch up because we hadn't seen each other in years. And, we never really were close, but this person had a spiritual awakening. And sure enough, now it's like, oh my God, we could. So like these chance meetings, it's like you have to be, unless we had an appointment to be somewhere, why rush? Right. What's the hurry? Sometimes I find myself in a hurry to get away from people, but that's another story.
That's Capricorn season. The lower expression of Capricorn is being the hermit, wanting to disconnect from emotions and people and being a hermit. So there you go, Linda. It's in the air.
Wait a minute. I have to argue with that one though, because I like being alone, but that doesn't mean it's a lower expression of Capricorn. I mean, I do a lot of quantum work and stuff when I have my alone time. You know what I mean?
It can be a good thing or a bad thing. If you're using it for escapism, that's the difference. Yeah. Okay. If you're going into the alone mode, so you know which one you're doing, because it could be anything. Can be the higher or lower, even the higher or lower.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, think about that one for a second.
All right, you go ahead. I'm going to read some of these comments here and get caught up.
Okay, just going back to the Capricorn new moon too. Now, while the Capricorn moon, we have Venus, Mercury, Pluto, and the sun and moon all in Capricorn at that time. So Capricorn has given us the most support that we could ever have. And then it's also making an aspect to Saturn and Aquarius. Okay, so Saturn and Aquarius is at the same place in this chart that it was in March and August of this year. And it's been showing us what we need to get done and do on your own.
All right, so hang on one second. March and August, you guys think back to what you were doing in March and August with what Bev's telling you right now. What needs to get done, right? So what were you doing back in March? What were you doing back in August?
Because right now we're at that same place. Saturn is at that same spot. So Saturn had its retrograde, so it's gone back over and it's back at the same point that it was at in March and August. So think about what started then. It's kind of like that cycle. Again, it's like in the 2 or 3 part. So it's gone back and now it's going forward. So we're here again. You look at it and see, okay, what is it that I need? What have I determined? And just kind of sitting back and looking at the lessons and putting the pieces together. That's really what it's about. We've got the support from Capricorn, which is all about the manifesting and bringing things together.
Bringing it into the earth realm, right?
Right. Grounding it through Capricorn, the earth sign. Right.
That's funny. Amy and Amber, let's see, they were both saying that they thought today was Wednesday. I did that. I don't know how many days I did it last week. I kept thinking it was Thursday and it was Wednesday. I did that last week, like
I
multiple
do it
days.
every week.
Every day, practically.
Yes, yes, yes. When she said it, she thought it was Wednesday. I thought, oh God, is it Wednesday? You gave me a scare there for a second. Don't do that to me, Linda.
That means you're coming into your true alignment. There's nothing wrong with you. You're not having a senior moment. You can call it a senior moment so that, you can make other people feel more comfortable when you're like, what day is it? And they don't understand why you don't know. And you're trying to tell them, I'm not going crazy. I'm not losing my mind. It's a senior
Yeah,
moment. Just kidding. But it's not kidding, not kidding. It's like, sorry, not sorry.
yeah,
It's
exactly.
happening. It's like if it's in the past, you don't need to worry about it anymore. You really don't.
No, really, you
Unless you
don't.
haven't learned your lessons. If you haven't learned your lessons, then you do need to worry about it.
And that's kind of what Capricorn is talking to you about here with the responsibilities, and also Saturn and Aquarius during this new moon. It's good at showing you too what needs to go, which in turn gets the support from the Sun in Capricorn. So Saturn's saying, hey, all right, what needs to go? We've been looking at this. Capricorn says, okay, I approve this plan. Let's go ahead, initiate, and let's begin this stuff. And the Sun in Capricorn too represents the ties that you have to others. So it's like your responsibilities to others, the people in your life, friends, acquaintances, tribe, any groups you belong to, co-workers, things like that. So you'll see those people kind of come to the forefront, especially friends, tribe at this point in time, being the holidays and stuff.
Yeah.
But it kind of helps us get clear on what really matters. And we've been talking about this all year since we had Pluto and Capricorn and all that big ordeal, which we'll go into that more at the beginning of the year for what's going to happen with that next. But it's all been about looking at the structures and saying, okay, this is not working. What can we do to improve it? So we're back here again and we're saying, all right, this is the final pass. We're starting out this new cardinal cycle. What can we do? And Saturn is also tapped into higher consciousness in Aquarius. Aquarius represents the collective, but it also represents the individual inside of the collective.
Okay. Interesting.
So again, you can look at all this as far as the collective, and that's I'm giving it a general overview. And then if you want to take it into your chart and dig deeper and look through these things in your chart. But right now I'm kind of talking overall, but we all see these things in common because we all have these areas in our chart. Now, maybe somebody doesn't have any planets in Aquarius, but Aquarius is still in your chart and it's still in a house or houses, and it's going to affect those areas of life for you.
Yeah.
So it affects everybody. And then whether it's on the collective or then you start, bringing it into focus under the microscope and going, oh, here's my chart. Wait a minute. I'm seeing this now, and this is just for me personally. So it's that individual being their authentic self and becoming part of the collective, so we all become whole and it's all connected.
It's all connected. I knew you were going to say that. I knew it.
I couldn't help it, but it is. I mean, it really is.
Perfect time to plug your readings that you're doing for people still, so they can send you, check out your website, or should they send you an email? Is that the same thing? I don't have your email on your
Just send me an email at my solo songs. You've got that one, Linda.
I got the website up here. If they go to your website, is your email on the website?
Yeah, it's on you can contact me there.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm still doing readings and stuff. And, I was chuckling talking about the Jupiter and things beginning in May, June, and July. And, I've had the best intentions to get things. I got my new computer. I wanted to get some classes going and stuff, but there's been some family circumstances here in the last few weeks, and things have just gotten a little crazy again. But I'm ready to rear and tear through this come the first of the year. So I've got my software picked out now. If I can get it downloaded and finish that, I'm going to have available just like some birth chart readings, just simple printouts that you can order and do. And then I'm going to do personal readings still, where we can focus in on certain things in your chart. So appreciate everybody bearing with me on that. Circumstances have just been what they are. But again, it's in the astrology, so I know it's not just me.
It's in the chart. Yeah, it's in your chart, as you like to say a lot of times. It's in your chart, and it's the same. It's the same thing everybody's going through, that what it doesn't work in your life, or now if you've been over something and then you go back over it, like Jupiter going in and out and in and out. But now all of a sudden the energy's like moving forward, where people are starting to call again. People are becoming more social. People want to meet for coffee or go out or get together. And yes, you can say it's the holidays. I will give you that.
Not all.
But I feel it energetically, and I've felt the hermit, and I felt the, like, the pause, and then the re, and before you said that was today, but I've been feeling it for a couple days, even longer than that. There was a couple weeks, maybe no more than 2. So say between a week and a week and a half ago, all of a sudden everything started moving forward in a way that I
Yes.
hadn't felt in a long time. It felt like I caught that wave that I'm surfing, and all of a sudden, you catch that wave and you're at the top and you're standing up and you got it. You know what I mean?
And it just keeps
it's almost
going, So yeah, we have kind of like the starting into it before the actual aspects happen. So when you have an aspect happen on a certain day, that doesn't mean, oh, you're going to feel it this day and that's it. All the aspects last for maybe a couple days before, a couple days after. Some of the bigger ones like eclipses last for 6 months at a time. It just depends on if it's an outer planet, it's slower moving, it will be a bigger deal. If it's a
like
personal
Jupiter,
planet,
right? Like Jupiter's huge. Jupiter's huge. So, if it's in retrograde, if it's slowing down its spin to a stop,
yes,
or it starts moving forward again,
right.
you can feel that probably days to weeks in advance. I mean,
There's a shadow period. They call it being in shadow before it goes into retrograde. So, and that's usually, depending on the planet, say give 3, 4, 5 days that you feel it building up. So yeah, as things are, it's like being on a ride and you feel it slowing down to stop. You still feel that you're stopping, so you can feel the change. And then when you get to that stopping and it starts up again, then you're back on track. So you feel the shift. I mean, and your body feels it big time. And Capricorn too is also about our bone structures. Yeah.
Oh, that's a foundation.
It's about our bodies. Yeah, it's a foundational thing. It's an earth sign, and it represents our bodies too. So we've got Mars retrograde over there, and Mars represents our body too. And we've got that in Gemini. So yeah, that's why all the communications are coming in. Gemini is about communications, and you got Mars over there in retrograde. And that's why I was cautioning about being careful with what you say and stuff. Because yeah, it seems to be a hard time for people. And with this Capricorn new moon, we also have Chiron going direct too. Now Chiron is that wounded
23rd.
healer.
Right, that's the 23rd.
Yeah.
That's important. That's very important. I want to talk about that a little bit.
It is, and that's I kind of wanted to bring that up because that's taking the healing forward after the retrograde. But you're looking at Chiron there in the beginning degrees of Aries. So again, you have to look at the different things. Chiron is the healer, the teacher. He was an astrologer, just all kinds of stuff. But the lower side of Chiron, the lower expressions, can be anger turned inward, which is depression, and suicide is a thing that comes with Chiron too. So it's really important to work with those Chiron wounds and do that healing. And a lot of people are feel that during the holiday season, and with this happening during it too, that just concerns me a little bit. And I kind of wanted to put it out there, because no matter what's going on, it has to get better, And I just hate to see anybody feeling that, period, whether it's the holidays or not.
Oh yeah, it is. All right, Scotty, I'm not putting that last comment up because that could trigger some people. I'm being, funny that way. Amy was talking about feeling from October to the end of November, which she was feeling exhausted, napped a lot. So did I. There was a lot of exhaustion, and I was down for probably 3 weeks. I didn't have COVID. I tested negative every time. Go figure. I mean, my mom had COVID, so I don't know why that happened. Wink, wink. But anyway, that's there was a lot of tiredness and everything, but starting to eat live fruits, live food, fruits and all that. I was craving pineapple. Pineapple really, really helped. And it's just probably what my body needed. But pineapple, I don't crave that all the time. But when your body says it wants something, just do it a favor and get it. And I want to talk a little bit about that just for a second, too, what you were saying, Bev, because Chiron, as in the wounded healer, and he's coming back. He's been through quite a journey, because I know we've done a couple lives and talked about him, and I didn't even really know much about him. And it's just interesting, too, because there's a lot. We talk in this community a lot, like we don't want to preach to the choir. So a lot of times we don't, I find myself saying repetitious things in videos that I've done to the point where it's like ad nauseum. I've said, you got to watch what you're thinking, and your thoughts create things. And I've tried to teach people about that. And when I find myself repeating myself or saying similar things, it's like, what good is it? What's the point? And I wanted to talk a little bit about this whenever we finish up with the astrology. I wanted to go a little bit deeper, but since we're talking about Chiron, I'm just going to bring it up real quick. There's a lot of people out there that are suffering, that are hurting, that are still in their trauma bonds. They're still hurt. They're still not knowing how to get off the poop loop, as we like to say. And we kind of take it for granted that because we're at where we're at in our process, and we hear people going, oh yeah, and I've mastered this. And, you know, we hear a lot of the talk about people as they're stepping up and remembering their soul level. And I think every time you catch yourself inside, you should celebrate that. Celebrate it like there's no tomorrow, you know, even if it just means, you know, giving yourself an extra snooze on your alarm clock if you still have to use alarm clocks, you know, or whatever it is. Get yourself a little whipped cream on your coffee or something. I don't know. Put a little caramel drizzle on there. Whatever your view on reward is for yourself, just celebrate it, because when you catch yourself doing something, chances are you're not going to make that mistake again. And I don't mean mistake, but it means you're not going to repeat a behavior that you don't want to, that you're trying to otherwise correct. So yeah, the people that are hurting, do you want to, we'll finish up with the astrology and then we'll talk about that on the back end of it?
Yeah, we can do that.
All right.
Yeah, that's just something, you know, it's, yeah, I don't like suffering and I can't help it. And, you know, sometimes I find myself repeating things too, Linda, but I look at it this way too. Sometimes there may be somebody new on that hasn't heard it too. So I try not to be redundant too much, and I don't mean to insult anybody. Like, yeah, I knew that. Why are you telling me that again? I don't mean to come across that way. I just think, you know, there might be somebody new out there. And I'm trying to break it down with things now that make it easier for me to learn too. So
well,
yeah,
you're doing fantastic. You bring forth energies and information that's great. And you know, we wouldn't be doing it live right now if Bev didn't have some important information to tell us about the astrology. This is really important stuff. So whether we remember everything that was said or not isn't important. The important thing is, like, tomorrow's the solstice. Today, we're in the middle of a 3-day window aligning us with the galactic central sun. Like, this is huge, the galactic center. Yep. And the spiral arms, imagine this is the grand central sun, and the arms spiral out. Okay. And we're in one of those spirals. I think it's called the Orion spiral, or the Orion arm, actually. And our Milky Way galaxy is in that spiral. Everything is in its turn in a spiral. So when we are in perfect alignment with that, it opens up gateways, it opens up potentials, possibilities, cycles completing within cycles. It's fantastic to really think about these kind of things, because it gives us that potential of what really are you? Are you connecting with your eternal being inside? And these are questions when people start waking up and asking themselves these questions. I think it's really important to have a place to go to where, like Bev, you're providing astrology, you're giving basics. People need this. I need this. You know, we need this in a community where we can help each other out. So
right.
I'm really grateful for you. Thank you for being willing to come on here and do these lives and give the information and repeat things for me that I don't.
No, Linda, you've learned more than you know you have, you know, but it's just reaching out, and people who want to empower themselves. That's what I want to do. I don't want to be the big guru and all the teacher, but you know what? If I can get you started on the astrology trail and point you in the right direction, maybe do a reading, you know what? If that helps you not make the same mistakes that I have and gone through some of the things that I've had to go to get the wisdom, hey, that's what it's all about. You know, I want to empower people so they can help themselves. And I just think that's really important right now.
Betty, I'm just going to acknowledge that I read your comment. Sorry about that, Bev. I just saw something here. Thank you. So Betty, yeah, same situation. Mine was a couple years ago, and a brother, but interesting, huh? So yeah, Bev, what else we got going on with the astrology before we?
I was going to drop just like a couple things.
Yeah, for 2023 and stuff, right? Don't you have some points?
Right. I did want to give you all a heads up. Mercury does go retrograde on the 29th of December. And I'd like to talk about that the first of the year, if I can. That's a big deal. And it goes from the 29th until I think it's the 12th of January. And we've got Mars in retrograde during that time. So it's like a super retrograde. And that's something I do want to talk about. But looking at all these things falling together, so you start looking at ahead of next year, and something really grabbed my eye that just kind of blew me away. So we're looking at all this Capricorn energy, things leading up to where we're going to go from here. In March, which is the last month of the astrological year before we start the new one again, we have 5 planets at 0 degrees of a sign.
That blows my mind.
It blew my mind. I mean, and they go like in sequence. Like on the 3rd, you have Mercury at 0 degrees of Pisces. On the 7th, you have Saturn at 0 degrees of Pisces. The 17th, you have Venus at 0 Taurus. On the 24th, you have Pluto at 0 Aquarius. And then the 26th, Mars is at 0 Cancer. Look at all those new beginnings.
That's
right
all
before we end the astrological year.
That's all in March. I mean,
that's all in March.
God. And I'm looking at it and writing, and it still blows my mind right now. Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them. The Mercury, Saturn, Venus, Pluto, Mars. Like it's like boom,
big
boom,
deal.
Boom. And this doesn't happen every year. Right? This isn't like where there's eclipses every year or something like that. This is
this is rare, very rare astrology. And the fact that it's happening the way that it is too. I mean, you can't tell me we don't have hope. Something has got to change, and we have it all in the planets. And for this to be so rare, and especially with the planets and where they're at too, because it's like if you look at the chart right now where everything's at, it's on like 1/2 of the chart, which I find interesting too. So yeah, there's just so much lining up that's coming up that I think we've got nothing but good things on tap. Not going to say that we won't have some growing pains and things like that, but look at all the initiation and possibilities that we got coming up next year. And the astrology next year is as big, if not bigger, than it was since 2020. And that's my plug for the next year's astrology.
Wow, that's interesting. Amber's saying sounds like there's no chance of backpedaling. No, I don't think so. I think we're in it to win it, and no turning back at this point. Oh my God, it's crazy. That's crazy. Well, thank you for that, Bev. Do you want to? We were going to talk about maybe one night next week, if God willing, if it's in the cards, we will come back again one night next week and talk
about that Mercury retrograde on the 29th.
You're right, because that's going to be like some kind of massive retrograde. It's not just your regular retrograde, right? Interesting too, because that's happening right before all the new beginnings. It's like think about all this. It's almost like when Pluto returned and you got like slapped in the face a few times. Like, you sure you want to do that? It feels like this is. All right. I can't wait to talk. We'll talk about 2023 next week.
Right. If we could do it then, or if we can't do it till the first of the year, whatever works for you, Linda. I just so appreciate you giving me time on here and making this possible.
Oh my God, are you kidding me? Thank you for coming. I feel honored that you're taking your time and doing work to come on the channel here and share all this. You're a wealth of knowledge. There's someone said a comment for you here too. Where is it? I think it might have been Amy. Let's see. Hold on. Got to get my glasses on and check this. I saw a comment earlier. It was Betty, and she said, all right, here, I'll put it up for you. Can you see the comments when I put them up, right? Only when I put them up. There you go. Bev, you're awesome.
Thank you, Betty. I so appreciate you. I hope you got something from this. Talking about, I lost something.
It's okay. It'll come back. Amy, you're
welcome. It was about the Chiron and that healing and stuff. And it doesn't matter how far we've come, what level per se we're at, where our consciousness is. As you continue to grow, you learn those same lessons at different perspectives. And I was kind of angry at myself for getting that upset, but then I realized, you know what? Look at what you did. You stopped it before you blew your whole life up and set the trash can on fire. You came and sat down and centered yourself. So you know what? That's progress. So don't ever beat yourself up for maybe making some of those mistakes or having those moments where you just have a bad day. Always know, as long as you're working and healing, you're progressing, and that's all that matters. And you have to be kind to yourself, especially through this huge astrology.
That was a great one right there. We're going to call that a Bevism. Because no, you're right.
Thank you.
You stopped yourself. Like I said, if you catch yourself, you need to celebrate these things. And maybe your reward can be to go sit in the dark and shut the lights out in the quiet and put headphones in and listen to nature music and get in the quantum. Maybe that's your reward instead next time of like punishing yourself and then finding it by, you stopped yourself. That's a celebration. So good job.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you, Scotty.
Okay, yeah, guys, when I put the comments up, she can see them because she has to use her phone, so she can't see the comments unless I put them up on the screen. So I try to read them, but you guys know I'm not that great at that. I'm getting better at it. I'm gonna watch what I speak from now on. So I'm getting better at things that I speak, thinking before I speak. I've been working on that for a long time. Seems like a life mission, part of my life mission. Watch what
Me
you
too,
speak,
Linda.
Linda.
Me too.
All right, let me see here. Thank
And
you,
I've
Bev, for
learned
the
too.
reminder to cheer ourselves on, especially when there are things we are working on that others are so unaware of. Yes. All right, that one's going up.
Yes.
That's a long one. That's a good one though. That's right. And that's a good chance, a good segue to start talking about some things on the back end of this if you guys want. If you want to stick around a little bit. We'll be back next week with astrology. If you're only here for the astrology, thank you for being here. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
We love you. And I'm going to run this real quick for you, just in case you forgot the name of Bev's website, in case you want to get your chart done to see where some of these things are. And you'll get a really amazing reading from Bev. She does it like
Thank you,
nobody else, and it brings it really down to earth so even people like me can understand.
Oh, you're learning so much, Linda.
All
And
right.
you've taught me so much.
Yeah, well, okay. So there we go. Now, Bev, let's talk about some of the things that are going on because do you need a break or anything? Or are you good?
I tell you what, can you give me just a couple
Yeah.
minutes
Yeah,
and
you
I'll
go
be
right
right
ahead.
back?
Go take
Okay.
your break. Yep. Go
Okay.
take your
Be
break
right
and come
back.
back. Yep. All right. So, hi. It's me. It's Linda. Bev's going to take a real quick break and I'm just going to chat you guys up a little bit here. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to read some of the comments that I didn't get to yet. Let's see. Chiron is in Aries. It's been a wild ride. Thank you, Bev. Yeah, Scotty, 2 steps forward and 12 back. Come on now. Why? You should start feeling this. No, not should. I don't want to should all over myself, so I'm not going to should all over you, but definitely this is a time where we start to measure our own progress and really step into that knowingness of who you are and that everything is really that important on the inside, connecting to that spiritual level. Because on the outside, all you got to do is show up. You know, your obligation on the outside is to show up to what you commit to. So you're creating all of this for yourself. I was talking to somebody earlier who shall remain nameless and all references removed. So somebody earlier was having a really hard time at work, and this person is having trouble with a coworker, and they sit very, very, very close, and it's awkward, and there's a lot. It's just getting very bad, and I know people can't just up and quit their jobs. I've been told that before. Is Linda, I can't just quit my job. Okay, no, you can't. But if you have other opportunities and other chances, and you can look for something to remove yourself from a situation, regardless of how many years you have, I know that that's important. I get it, but it's also in a system that's I don't want to say going away, but it's being overhauled. It's being uplifted. It's being, we're not supposed to be working that many hours a week. We're not here on this planet to work as little slave bee workers. We're here to create and do so much more than that. So if you're in a position where you have to put up with somebody and you're at work and I'm just using this because this came up today, but if you're in a position where you have to put up with somebody, it's either put up or shut up kind of thing. So if you have a chance to look for something else, there's going to be so many opportunities coming in springtime. Like just wait. Spring is coming, guys.
Yes.
It's funny. I got to go back. I got to read when we're done this. I got to make myself a note here. I wrote a poem, slam poem. I think it's in my book. I think it was published called Spring is Coming. So I'm going to have to go back and read that and see what my higher self my soul was channeling in.
Oh, wow.
Spring is coming. Yep. All right. Y'all good?
Yep.
Okay. Without comparing yourself to others. Yes. Oh, the 12 back is only on my speech. I got you. All right, good. So you feel it inside. You feel your empowerment. I want to talk about a little bit about the suicide and the things that you know, there's a lot of fear mongering out there. There's a lot of programming, and they're say fighting to the bitter end, you know, to hold on to this 3D matrix simulation, slave, whatever you want to call it. Which means there's going to be like epic fails when things get overhauled. It's just bound to happen. We know the economy is going to be collapsing. We know there's going to be, you know, times where people are going to probably feel really bad if they don't already, because there's a lot of star seeds and people that have been trauma based and all that are having really, really hard times right now. They're struggling really hard because they haven't made that connection to their inner spirit, their soul, their essence, self, the divinity within, whatever you want to call it. And without that connection, you do feel all alone. And I know I've been there, and I've had my connection, and I've even been there with my connection. So there's people that don't have their connections. They don't trust it. They don't understand it because they're not taught. They're taught in the way of programming. So they think that they're crazy. And it's just really important that we speak our truths, because that's how we help people. So when you're speaking your truth, if you're somewhere and you hold back something, there could be somebody that might have overheard you and you don't know you could have helped somebody. So don't hold back anything. That's when they say, don't dim your light. Don't do it. There's people that are really feeling alone right now. And you know, they just came out with that suicide hotline number not long ago. It's almost like the Biden's administration was talking about it. I don't know. I don't pay much attention. There's all this stuff going on. It's like they're getting ready. They're preparing people. They're planting the seeds and who's going to get the narrative? Like, I would like to say the narrative of the star seeds and the people that know it's coming can put out the intention that if somebody is suicidal, put me in their path. Like, let me run across somebody, or let somebody come across my path that I can just be myself around. I might not even know they're suicidal, but let me be in their path, because my smile, my light, my hello, how are you? Like, I'm not quiet at all when I go out. And I'm not harming them anymore. Right. So like, just put them in my path. And if everybody in the 144, in the Christ team, in the star seeds and the benevolent races, the 12 tribes that make the 13 rainbow human light, crystallite people, if everybody puts that intention out there that whoever may be suicidal is put in your path, we can help them. So we can take that narrative back. We don't have to say, well, it's bound to happen. It's going to happen. And every time you say shit like that, excuse me, but every time you say stuff like that, it just kind of co-creates it, right? You're good putting energy to it. So let's take the divine timeline. And I'm going to give you a quick example of this, Bev, real quick. Today, my mother and I were dreaming, like New Earth kind of dreaming, and just kind of like delivering Christmas stuff and whatever, just kind of like happy. And I said, you know, in my creation, you know, I gave the address I grew up with at my childhood home, because I've seen resurrected family beings and whatever there. So it's like I've had this dream of how this house was. Now it's sold. It's not in our family anymore. But so is my mom's childhood house that I knew as a child too. They had an in-ground pool, and my grandfather built it. So long story short, I said to her, well, I would pick my childhood home as my home in the new earth, like in the glorified version of the home, because there was a lot of dreams built there, right? And I said, you would probably pick your childhood home. And as we're saying this, I said, you know what? Why do we have to pick? Why don't we have our community land, and your home and my home, like they could be on the same property or whatever? And it's like, why does it have to be the same landscape? It doesn't. We don't have to be. And if it is, until we get there, until we get to that place, if it doesn't, we don't know. We have to let go of how it's going to happen. So yes, if we're in 3D Earth, we just say, like, you said, was it yesterday, today, and tomorrow? This is the day for dreaming big, dreaming in the quantum, dreaming outside the box. We think we are imagining as far as we can, and as beautiful as we can, and as love and light and abundance for all, and new earth. We think we're doing that. But then I was shown today, even myself, I have a house that I've always visualized in my happy place, and I've seen it in my galactic dreams and whatnot. That's one thing. My mom's would be another. It's like, how are we all going to coexist? Well, we will coexist in the world, but we don't know how it'll unfold here.
Right, in the 3D, right.
because it's gonna go from 3D and then it's gonna be lifted. And well, who knows what it's gonna be like after it's lifted? Because I've heard things like anything man-made's not coming with us, but who knows? We don't know. So why
We
not
don't.
dream outside of the box? Make
Yeah. So,
something that you didn't think you could create it. Put two houses together you didn't think you would, and then maybe not put five houses or six or seven houses together and knock out all the walls so that they all meet in the center for like a family fire pit and kitchen or so. I don't know, a community area. I've seen these things. I'm telling you, Bev, it just doesn't stop.
with the
It's just
galactic
nonstop.
with the Galactic Center connections, I mean, it's limitless. And you know what? Some things, if you look back, that have came about in your life, you couldn't have dreamed them to come together the way they did. So stay open, and that's a big thing right now with that Mars in retrograde. Stay open.
Yes.
Mercury's coming to retrograde too. Stay open. Things can change. Be flexible, and learn how to just be able to change and not pin things down like that. And that's one of the hardest lessons of all, really, when you first start out in things. And I still struggle with it at times too. I'm not perfect, but yeah, it's harder and it gets easier as you go.
It does. And the thing is, you knew how to do it when you were a child. You knew how to use
Yes.
your imagination or co-create or whatever you were doing as a child. You had the connection still on. So yeah, there's a lot of things. We talked about projects for humanity a little bit. I want to talk a little bit about that.
Yes.
There's something very near and dear to me. You guys, if you followed my channel from way back, you've heard me talk about this. You probably heard me read my proposal. That video has since disappeared, but my proposal for Projects for Humanity included, it was almost like as if somebody gave me like unlimited funds and what would I do with it, that kind of thing. But it was a proposal that had a foundation, and the foundation did a lot of things. All right. It started as a healing center, but it's evolved into a creation center. And I see creation centers all over the place, everywhere. And it's not like I'm trying to trademark it or say this is my intellectual property or anything like that. I'm not doing that. Anybody can have a creation center if they want. You name it whatever you want. But it came to me in that vision as a creation center more recently. And one of the things in there wasn't just healing for like the med beds and all that. It went beyond that. It was helping senior citizens. It was helping people that were stuck in the criminal justice system. It was helping the vets like you, Bev. Thank you for your
Yes.
service. It's
You're
helping
welcome.
the homeless vets have a home and have a place, where they could stay. And we were talking about tiny homes and different things. Well, guess what? So a friend of mine invited me over. Now, this was something back in the fall during one of the retro whatever,
Yeah.
whatever.
The RE words. Yeah.
The RA words, right? And during the time, I thought she was proposing to me for like an MLM or some business proposal. And we laughed about it this week because we got together this week and I met with her partner, and he already has a foundation that he's working on. And he was inviting me to participate at I guess, a founder's level with them or ground level or whatever you want to call it. Or some kind of something. They wanted me to be involved. And she had mentioned it to him that I would be a good fit for it. And here I thought she was proposing me for an MLM. So I was just like no thanks. I didn't know. So as this is coming out, it's like I always felt like the Projects for Humanity would come in the terms of a GCR, global currency reset, the
Right.
ZIM bonds, the money like that for Nasera, just Sarah, all these things. Now, are those things still going to happen? Who knows? Is that the bad guy reset? Who knows? Is
Right.
crypto going to go to the moon? Who knows? But what I do know, I mean, we don't know that, but what we do know is that there is funding for Projects for Humanity because there are people out there that have projects like a very ambitious project, like 500 locations for vets for homes, and each location would have probably a community center in there so the vets could have like the free services or whatever, but it would still have to be self-sustaining. So maybe classes or things would be offered to the greater community. But the bottom line is we would get the vets the homes that they deserve and that they need and help them get off the streets, but they would be healing. They would go, it's such an ambitious project, but it's already in the works. And it's something that's going to be moving forward. Funny enough, by springtime.
Yes.
It's like maybe by the end of January or maybe mid to end January, there might be some beginning stages. You know what I mean? Like where the funding will start channeling down a little further so that people can be hired and actually do the work that needs to be done to get these properties up and running. And I am just over the moon excited about it because I didn't think it's like, all right, work on your dream. If I told you my dream for healing centers, creation centers, if I'm telling you what that is, I'd have to secure all the land. And I know a few people with property and I've met people. I went across the country, like looking for different places and checking things out. And there's so many visions that people have of these communities or centers or whatever it is. And everybody has a little bit slightly different twist on it. But the people with the property want the people with the know-how, and the project managers need the money, and the people that have the money are looking for people with, property. But it's all coming together.
Yes.
And it's the most beautiful thing. I never would have imagined that this type of ambitious project would be something that would be like right in my backyard and that somebody would be inviting me to participate in. I always thought I was going to have to do it all and then hire people and hire this team and hire that team. And I managed in my proposal. I had it all laid out, but I would have definitely needed to hire a whole bunch of people, starting with lawyers. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And now it's like it's already in the works. I can't believe it. I'm so excited for what's going to be happening in 2023. And Bev, with everything that you were saying.
And that's all the astrology. The astrology is there for all the beginnings,
I can't believe it. I can believe it. I keep saying I can't believe it. I do believe it. It's just that I've kind of let go of how it's going to happen. My idea of how it would happen was there'd be some kind of switch flipped and the can wouldn't get kicked and the money would come to the people. But, how does that happen? It's like, how do you figure that out? Well, I don't know. I guess we have a GCR and then we have appointments and we go to the bank somehow. And it's like a pipe dream. You sound like a lunatic when you say those things. And I know that because I've been involved with this. I've been saying these things. It doesn't, but to know that that's already taken care of. You don't have to worry about that.
You don't have to know all the details. You don't have to know all the details and all the specifics. Capricorn says, hire that expert to take care of that stuff. You're never going to know everything, So
that's
there
Capricorn.
we go with the astrology. Yes.
Oh, I love Capricorn. All right. Capricorn. Any Cappies out there? Are you guys listening? Capricorn? It's so cool. All right. So there is a lot of homeless vets, and there's a lot of vets that are facing psychological. Look, we all are through these changes, but feeling like they're alone and homeless. The suicide rates are astronomical. I actually went to school with a fella, and he had a foundation. His name was Jeffrey Hart. And he had a foundation that he started because he was military his whole life. And he came back, and I guess he suffered from PTSD and mental health. He had mental health challenges. And he wound up committing suicide. But he had the Hart Foundation. He was going to call it Heart to Heart or Heart something, because that was his last name, Jeff Hart,
Yeah.
And I would love to see if I haven't even Googled that or checked that to see if that's still even in existence. But, when somebody commits suicide that's close to you because they're hurting and they're feeling alone, there's no reason for that. We are here. We are everywhere. We're sprinkled all around this world, and there's people been joining, and there's more and more and more people. There's numbers you can call now for the suicide number. I should have looked that up. What is it? It's not 411. Is it? It's not 911. Maybe it didn't know. 411's information.
I think it's an 888 number. That's the
or something. 88.
But Linda, the thing about that is a lot of people are hurting and stuff. And during these last 2 years, the mental health system has kind of fallen apart. Okay, people who do need help and stuff, and it is a lot of veterans. I have a soft spot because I am a veteran, and I saw a lot of people come out of Desert Storm and different things like that, and they were never the same people. I have my own effects from being in. I was never in combat per se, but I had a lot of experiences too that, so I understand it. And we need to take care of our own people. And that's how I see these communities being able to help. You get things together. We support each other. That's what it's supposed to be about. Yeah. And until we get past those things, and I see with all those 0 point beginnings in March, and you were telling me about this. So isn't that the coincidence? The timing on that? Come on, you can't make this stuff up. You
can't. And that number, by the way, is 988. At least that's what I just Googled. So if I'm wrong, correct me in the comments, please, or put it on not in the chat, put it on a comment under the video so people seeing it later can see it. Cap Rising, JK, Amy, yes. We all, yes. Aligning, meeting with our groups, it's our tribe, and using our gifts to help people. Yeah, there has to be that age of miracles too. Don't forget. And there's going to be people that are going to reject your gifts. Even if you could like go, ding, I'm pointing at you, ding, and then, she quit smoking.
I wish.
Well, there's a lot of DNA overwrites that we're doing for that. I'm lucky to be on the other end of that now again for I don't know the umpteenth time, but it's a done deal this time. But yeah, like you're healing ancestral things too. But when you heal yourself, you are healing your ancestral lineage. It's not like you have to look in the past and say, well, gee, they have this core wound, they have that. No, what's in you that needs to be healed? That's what you heal, because you're healing your line while you heal yourself. Let's not overcomplicate it. And,
Right.
And I say that because I'm talking to myself. I'm talking to myself as much as anybody else who's doing ancestral work. Don't make it complicated, because when you start looking at your ancestral lineage and you see how many people, over 4,000 people it took over 400 years or so, give or take, it's 12 generations of people. It's like 4,000 people it took you're carrying all that. I mean, doesn't that feel very heavy just saying how many people that is? That's a lot of weight. So chances are you were those people. You just reincarnated, and here you are now. You heal yourself, you work on yourself, and you are healing the lineage.
Right, because it won't carry on through you. It'll go up as the higher consciousness, because since you worked on it and reached that, it's like breaking those bonds and the chains of those things that were just, things that we don't need to carry anymore. All those dark energies and the things that we went through, I mean, there's been, this whole world has been a trauma and suffering for so long, but you know what? Those days are done.
That's right. They are done. And there's going to be alternative healings. It says the therapy, Amy was saying, the therapy needs to change. Healing, not pills.
Amen.
Alternative therapy,
yes.
Rehabilitation. Completely agree. Energy healing. And the thing is, too, this is what I really want to do. And this is at my center, wherever I'm at, wherever I go, this is what I will do, because this is what I do all the time. If you're giving somebody healing, if you're gifting them, exchanging it, if you're whatever, you speak your truth while you're doing it. You empower them by telling them what you're doing. You teach them. I just saw 1 2 2 2 2. That's so funny.
Oh wow.
Yeah, 1 2 2 2 2. So like you help people. So if you're giving energy work or healing the vets, you're teaching them about their energy body so they can do it themselves, because they can. They just don't know how. So this is the alternative therapy is you're going to learn by osmosis, whether you're trying to learn or not. Even if you don't think you want to learn, you're still going to learn.
And I find that too, because, my mom has been into spiritual stuff and everything for so many years. And, she used to talk to me and I'd hear about half of what she said. And later on, after she was gone, I realized I soaked up way more than I thought I did, because this stuff has just started coming alive. And I go, man, I remember her saying that. I didn't think I was paying attention, and she's probably saying that now too, because she didn't think I was. But yeah, I soaked it enough. And when I needed it, it came out. And
it comes through, and you channel her. You're probably channeling her in a lot of this too when you're doing this, because she was into this stuff, right?
Yes. Oh, she was into a little bit of everything. My childhood was quite interesting, because back in the 70s, nobody talked about that. We had one of those pyramids in our basement, and that was unheard of. Yeah,
a copper pyramid. Like, oh my God, that's great.
It was like the paper towel rolls, and it was tied off, and it was a pyramid. You sat under and meditated.
Oh my
Anybody
God.
in my neighborhood would have known that. Yeah, they'd have been laughing. But this is a 78, so yeah, I've led quite the experienced life with spirituality and just learning a little bit about everything. And then astrology just really piqued my interest. So that's kind of my way of giving back and helping people to help themselves. Because those vets and everybody, a lot of times, there's mental illness too, but that doesn't mean it has to stay that way. You start talking to people, everybody wants hope. And if you can just reach out a hand, if somebody gets a hand and you help them up and just give them a little bit of support, that's all it takes. We don't need the pills and the drugs and all that. No, we don't.
No, we don't. We just need time, quality time, location, and just to be able to be willing to share what we know, because what we know our wisdom, our gifts, whatever our knowledge base is, or also I'll say our wisdom base instead of knowledge. It's technology for people. I mean, how do you say it's technology? You're teaching people how to get in touch with their own light codes, their own galactic light codes, their initiations. They're self-initiated. We're all self-initiated. You just don't realize it. You think, oh, somebody on high initiated you, some being outside of you. No, it's a self-initiation process. It's all bringing you back to being in oneness with your soul first and foremost. So, as we teach other people to do that, that is healing. That is the healing technologies. It's within us. Like we generate the plasmic energy from within ourselves. Like we are the free energy. We are that.
Something too, Lyndon, I don't know, I'm just being prompted to say this too, with a lot of that right now, that's where people self-medicate, and that's where addiction comes from. And I know, the holidays are a rough time for people who trying to stay sober, trying to get cleaned up and stuff like that. And just, I want to say there, if there's anybody you can reach out to, just let them know there's always hope, and encourage somebody, because you know what, they're just medicating that pain. Help them find a better way,
Yeah. And it always is a better way. There always is something else that you can do, like an alternative way, like no pills, no whatever. Or Amy's sharing with everybody that in 2012, since 2012, she's now medication free, alcohol free, weed free for about 8 years now. And it is possible, just to tell you all that. And Amber's sharing a whole lot of forgiving oneself and allowing. That's it. Oh, I'm going to leave this up for a minute. Forgiving yourself is always the challenge. It's a lot harder to forgive yourself than somebody else. We hold ourselves accountable and to a higher standard for a reason. And that's because you've probably already had a walk-in. And I'm saying this in different terms now, because if you haven't had a walk-in, you haven't had your soul level from a certain frequency come in to be in your body. If you weren't born with that soul level frequency, like, when you lose it and then you kind of like go into like, I'm not talking about the kids that are here now, or I'm not talking about special, beings and whatever that have been open their whole life. But you come in at a certain frequency and then you kind of fit yourself, you shrink your light down, you fit into the mold of what societal expectations are and all the programming tells you. So in order to operate in this world, you lower everything. And it's like, train of thought is going down the track, and Linda just got off the train and said, let's go back to the station. So if you followed that, sorry to leave you there. I'm leaving you at the train station.
I've done that before too.
It's moving so fast. It's crazy.
It is. Just so much is coming in. And I tried to sit down earlier. It's like when I sent you the notes for the show, and I ended up adding half a page later. I couldn't stop. It kept coming through. I'm like, oh my God, I got to stop somewhere here. Linda's going to think I'm nuts. So here's an addendum, and here add this. Yeah. So it's been coming in quick.
It is coming in fast. It's hard. Betty, congratulations. She is halfway through her last class for real estate, and she actually almost finished out in California, then moved out to Texas and had to start all over again. So,
oh wow,
Betty's, congratulations. Keep going. Or I say start all over. I don't know if you had to start all over, but those extra things that weren't accepted to get started over. So I think you basically had to start over. If I'm
good correct. For you. Congratulations.
Yay! Congrats, Betty. Oh wait, I have the wrong. There we go. Yay. Oh, guys. There is finding a balance. Yes. Trying to find a balance. It's like when sometimes you have a thought, you walk into, I'll get up and go. So as soon as you get up, you forget what you go in. There's senior moments. People say, no, it's more than that. It's the quantum. Your mind doesn't have room to categorize and catalog and memorize and store stuff that is not important. And it's like you probably already told yourself, if it's not important, I don't want to know. Just like security defense. If somebody's coming in at a fourth or fifth dimensional, maybe sixth dimension, if they're bugging you, whatever, I don't want to hear it unless it's 7D and higher. Don't bug me. Yeah. It's like set it and forget it. So I think we've done that with ourselves, is not to bog down our mind, because we're looking for that peaceful, quiet state of mind. We want that peace of flow. So peace and flow, I should say. So that our minds aren't just going crazy with all the thoughts. When the energy's coming in, we're interpreting all of that. We're translating all of that through the mind system. And
that makes me feel better, because I get up and get halfway through. I did that earlier today. I said, now what did I get up for? I hate that. It's so aggravating, but yeah, that makes sense. There's more
Oh,
important things than whatever it was I got up for, you know?
sorry about that.
That's all
Yeah,
right. It's
sometimes
good.
you just up and down, right?
Yeah,
Wow.
it's been like that today for sure.
All right, you guys, I want to transmit I want to send some stuff from the bowl over to you guys. Some crystal bowl stuff. Is there anything else? Wait, we were going to talk about numbers and everything, Bev. Was there something you wanted to? Oh, wait, let's talk about the Nikola Tesla codes. Bev started doing
Okay.
some math, you guys.
Yeah, that came out of nowhere because math was not, it's funny, math was not my forte, but I did accounting. Now, when it came to the money, I was good at math. Just regular math, forget it. So, Linda, you got that piece of paper. I'll let you explain it. Just how
Well,
I was looking at the manifest, and it kind of just made this stuff come in.
all right, let me go. Let me get it. Was that messenger or was that text? I think it might have been text.
I think it was, I think it
Maybe
was Messenger.
Was it? Okay.
Because you might want to show just that top half there on the screen. Because I started getting these numbers through watching Manifest, and
All right. Well, it's
Linda's the numbers lady.
all right. Well, first I'm going to start off by, and don't let me hold this so I won't forget. Last year when I went on my cross country sojourn for like 4 months, and that word comes back to me as that's what it was. I said I couldn't pronounce it, and I had to look it up when I was done the video, and it means like journey, so I'm going to use it again. So the sojourn that I went on, part of that last March before the spring equinox, different places that I was at, we would activate different things, or the land would call for some different type of work in each place, and there was a lot of grid work going on, and the Infinity Trinity was activated, along with a whole bunch of other things. But the Infinity Trinity kept coming up. And Mel in Texas and her mother and I were present for that when it started. And then we carried it through and with us. And then we spread it through the grids and the physical locations, as well as now through the whole Christ team. So the Infinity Trinity, Bev asked me, what does 88 mean to you? What does 88 mean to you, or whatever? And I was like, well, it's the Infinity Trinity. It's a double infinity code. And then, there's been a lot I could say about this, but Bev shows me this paper. Now, I don't know if I can see you guys. It's sideways because she sent it to me sideways and I haven't fixed it yet. Tell me if that's visible. No, it keeps flipping.
No,
All right,
it's
I'll just
not.
tell you what it says. All right, so 88 times 144 equals 12,672. Divided by 3, 4,224. Divided by 6, 2,112. Divided by 9, 1,408. Now, the way she has it listed is 88 times 144 and then the number. And then 369 was the Tesla code. So she just decides she's going to, I guess, divide this by each one of these Tesla codes just to play with the math. Each one of those numbers comes out to 7744. Was that 72? Yeah, 7744.
Okay, but go back. There's a page before that, Linda, where I divided 144 by 3. I divided it by 6. I divided it by 9.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry.
That's the one.
Yes.
That was the.
That came out to 88. Yeah, so she
Yes.
starts out with 144 and divides it by 3, then 6, then 9. She gets 48, 24, and 16, which equals 88. And then, like she said, the next one.
I just started. I don't know. I was just playing with them. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So when you guys are playing with numbers, when you're dealing with sacred geometry, when you're doing things like this, even if you just delve into it and just dip your toe into the water just a little bit, it's like the universe is beckoning you. Like you just dip in a little bit and the universe is going to be like, oh, goody, you're here. Let's play. Yeah. Because the numbers come out like, who would think math is fun? Who would think that math has to do with synchronicities and patterns and templates and all of that? And that's the foundation of what, the whole foundation of the Earth matrix is based on math. Who would think that's fun?
Well, yeah, and the astrology based on math too. I mean, look at everything, and then you look at human design. That's kind of the same thing. Everything's based on numbers, and then it's based on degrees. Then it just goes on. Then you put the astrology to it, the Sabian symbols, which are all degree points. Yeah, it just all. I don't know. That was just one of my nights there.
The Sabian symbols. That's funny. Check this out. Amber says she was born in 88.
Oh, isn't that interesting? That's cool.
Oh my God. So you are, let's see, probably 32. Oh, wait. Is my math off? Yeah, my son was born in 87, my oldest son. Okay, and she loves how we all come to the same conclusions through different ways. Yes, it's like
Yes.
somebody said early on in my spiritual quest in life. Somebody said one time, all mountains lead to the same place, and it's like it kind of whatever, didn't mean a big deal, but I always came back to that. That thought like never left. There's something somebody might say that's kind of profound, and then you come back to it later in life, and it just has even more profoundness to it. It's
Yes.
like, like if you're trying to reach God, you don't have to go by this religion, that religion, this, just because they told
Right.
you. It's like you got to find that within yourself. So, yeah, many mountains lead to the same place.
And
And
each perspective brings more wisdom to it. So then you see it from a new perspective, and now it has a total new meaning. But we all still get there, however it takes us to get to that point. Yeah.
yeah, 35 in February. That's right. Okay. Because he would have turned 35 in October. So, yeah, that's right.
Wow.
Oh. Well, guys, you know what? I'm gonna take the glasses off. Was there any more? So? What else are we gonna talk about on the other than the transmissions? What else are we gonna cover?
Just we're
Um,
going to talk about this stuff, kind of watching that manifest. If anybody hasn't watched it, because man, it really has given me some downloads. I watched it when it first came out, and they just added a last season to it. So I'm binge watching the rest of them through, and I'm almost done. And there's a lot in there, just a lot that came alive for me.
it's funny. It's funny. Yeah, I mean, it's a mainstream show. It's like mainstream kind of, what do
Yeah.
you call it? Big three kind of
Yeah.
show. But if you binge watch it on Netflix or something like that, it's definitely
It's
it's
got the
definitely worth a watch.
spirituality
Yeah.
to it. Yeah.
It's got a lot to it because
Yes.
you could say like, well, they're the resurrected. Well, what is the resurrected? The elect. Well, we still have to let go of our idea of how that's going to happen. You know?
Because a
Yes, it's
lot of
on
it's been
Netflix.
programming
It's
too.
on Netflix, Betty. And
Yes.
I love this. Divine Hazel, all religion is a program to be released. Thank you. Well
Yes.
said.
Yes.
Well said.
It's all about spirituality and that personal relationship that you have with the creator. And nobody can dictate that. You have the answers within.
Okay, there was one other thing I wanted to talk about, which was our gifts and telepathy. And I know just from my experience here with my mother, just certain things where, telepathy's kicking on. But I've been down this road like a little bit longer. So I mean, I'd like to hear from you guys if you're having new experiences and things, because the gifts are turning on, and it's how much of that gift do you want to own? How much are you claiming? If you live with somebody, are you noticing now that you basically think the same thing the same time, or you might think something and then like, let's just imagine I'm saying something in my mind and I'm like, oh, that would look pretty with an apple sitting here, and then the next day I go through and mom had left an apple there for me, but that didn't happen. I just made that up. But
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like stuff like that happening where people are picking up what you're throwing down or vice versa. Or, are you guys getting that? I just want to know. Bev, how about you? Are you having experiences more with telepathy with animals, telepathy with people? Telepathy specifically, I want to talk about, not other gifts right now, but mostly telepathy. Are you noticing the doors opening even more?
Yes, I am. And it's people reconnecting with me when I've just thought about them, and then having a conversation that I had just had with somebody else the day before. I mean, it's just those connections. Just people coming across, even my sister, picking up the phone, and we both had a meltdown the same day, which I found rather interesting. She said, oh, I had never been that angry sis in a long time. And I said, oh, we both had the same experience and we both did well. So I said, you know what? We're growing and we're healing that ancestry, aren't we?
Yeah.
So
Well,
yeah, those
how
kind
I
of
feel.
synchronicities.
You know how I feel about that with the ancestry. Anytime you heal yourself,
Yes.
you're healing the ancestry. I mean, to make the intention is great though, because that shows you're thinking in quantum linear, and for the group, for the one, for the all, like for the greater good of all. Like it tells you when you start actively saying like if I'm calling in and say, I'm gonna pick a card here and calling in the ancestors, so I'm,
Yeah.
I'm activating my lineage for whence I came. which
Right.
means it could be calling my higher self aspects in, because my higher self aspect is that not my ancestry? I mean, you think if I've reincarnated in the same lineage, what if, I could go on the what if all night though.
Yeah.
What if?
Yeah.
What if
There's a lot of questions.
every incarnation is really only the one being, just in different expressions, in different times?
And how many fractals are there?
There's every being well, no, not every being, because we know that there's soulless beings that are out there. We
But
know
of
that there's
ourselves, you think
of
about,
ourselves.
yeah,
We're one being. So technically I am you. Just in a different lifetime.
yes, yes.
Oh my God, I love these mind benders. Okay, so we're having Amy was having some telepathy. Yep, let's see. We're all getting closer than we know, and Betty's been getting it for the last 7 months. She's been having that.
Wow.
Oh wait, I gotta get off of here because this is whoops. All right, there we go. Staying in the moment is when you are in your divine connection. Yeah, staying in the moment. That's right. This is why I have such a hard time scheduling things. I have a really, really, and I don't want to speak it. I'm getting better at scheduling things, but I want to say that this time that we exist in right now has been the most. No, I won't say it that way either. I'm being very careful how I choose my words
Tread
here.
lightly there. Yeah.
When I need to be somewhere, I'm getting much better at scheduling important things only. How's that? Does that work? That
And
works.
see, I'm doing the opposite of you because I always had to have everything planned and scheduled. And if something didn't go like I had it planned and scheduled, it would really upset me. And
I was
now I'm
there.
just I'm kind of off the cuff. Yeah, okay, you want to go somewhere tomorrow? And my family will look at me and say, "Wait a minute, we didn't have to plan this a week or two in advance with you." They don't. They're
Bev,
like seeing the changes. So
that is
yeah,
how I used to be as well. And then I've been kind of like letting it go, like you said, but I'm getting better at scheduling things that are very important. That's how
yes,
you have to, because like I don't even, this is my calendar right now. A couple things written down that I see. Well, there's a couple pages of it here, but
you
like
know what's
between
important. You know what's
like
you're being
mom's
called.
appointments or things that you have to be there. Like, yes, but it's weird because it's really, really nice not to have an alarm clock. And I'm sorry for anybody out there that still needs to use their alarm clock. I'm sorry because it's
I
really,
don't
really,
miss it.
I don't miss it at all. And if I need to get up, I program myself, like I like to get up at 8:30. And now it seems like my body just forgot and just gets me up every day at 8:30 if I'm not up earlier.
Yeah, yeah,
It's like you can't sleep past 8:30 because you spoke it.
yep, yep.
Oh my God. All right, Amy's saying she's more spontaneous, and Betty's saying off and on, so she's been having it. It's hard to keep up, is Amber saying. We all need to let go and allow. Yes. Thank you, Divine Hazel,
Yes.
bringing that back to where we need to be. Speaking of which, are we ready for a little crystal bowl singing transmission? What do you
Sure.
think? Or you know what? We could wrap it up and we'll end with that. How about that?
Okay. Hey, it's your show. Whatever you'd like to do, Linda.
Oh,
I'm
it's
happy
our
to be
show.
here.
It's our show tonight. This is just a tribe meeting. We're all
It's
here.
nice.
Okay. Well, thank you. And then let's see what else. So let's start with thank you, Bev, for all of your knowledge tonight and coming on and encouraging me to get this live going, because there's too many important things that we have to share. So yeah,
Yeah.
I would like to reiterate just that yesterday, today, and tomorrow is when you really need to play in that imagination. You really need to
Yes.
get into that folk. What do you want for the next 12 years? And don't worry about how it's going to happen. And I find that to be the most challenging part when you're trying to visualize
Yeah.
what you want. I always tend to want to visualize how it's going to happen. So take that out. Just visualize what you want. Throw yourself into that happy place situation.
So basically, no expectations is pretty much no expectations. Just dream it out there.
Yes, dream, dream, dream. That's going to be the key. And you guys, we did it tonight specifically so that you would have another day. You would have the rest of tonight before you go to bed. Don't, like, when you lay down, don't lay down right away. Shut the lights out like you're going to go to bed and sit up in your bed.
Yeah.
just for like 2 minutes, and it'll probably be longer. Even when you're dead dog tired, you're like, oh, you'll think of me saying this, and you'll be like, oh, darn it, Linda, and then sit up and do a quick meditation if you don't sit in a longer one before that, and really give yourself that freedom to just let your mind go quantum and let your heart tell you where and what you want to create. Let yourself see it and feel it and become it, like you're stepping into a dream. Let that happen and play with it, because this is
Yeah.
the time. This is like you got like tonight and tomorrow, and tomorrow's going to be busy and you'll probably forget to do it tomorrow if you're not already doing a solstice thing. So just try to give yourself that time, that freedom. It's okay to dream again. There's big, beautiful, wonderful things that are coming, and we don't know how, but we know they're coming. Right, Bev?
Yes, no doubt about it. The astrology and everything else I feel. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you for being here, Bev. I'm going to do
Oh,
a
thank
bold
you.
transmission. Is there anything else you want to end with? Are you good, or how you feeling?
Just wishing everybody a happy holiday season if you celebrate, and looking forward to digging in to see what we have for the next year or so, and looking at that Mercury retrograde. And thank you, Linda, and everybody. I hope somebody got something out of it. And God bless.
Oh, we got a lot out of it. Thank you,
Oh,
sister.
thank you.
All right. So now, just to play you guys out. If you need to go, you go right ahead. But I'm gonna ding you in. So just get comfortable. Get yourselves comfortable. Let all that tense. Oh wow, yeah. All right. So we're all connected, guys. We're all connected. It's all connected, Anne. Bev, I was gonna call you Amber. Isn't that funny? Take a nice deep breath. Try to visualize. Visualize yourselves in the quantum, co-creating. Peace. Just ground everything. ground all those light frequencies and sound codes. See yourself, visualize that coming down into your heart, going straight down, out through all the bottom chakras. Sending it down to Mama Gaia. And remember now, tomorrow is the solstice. So take some time for yourself. Take some time. If you can get into nature, please do, by all means. But just know that when you show up, you are enough. Don't dim your light for anybody. And you never know. You may just smile at somebody who is having a very bad day, and you may have changed the course of their life. So always,
Yes.
always shine your light. Never dim it. We are one. Thank you guys for being here. I love you all so much.
Thank you.
Peace, love, and light.
Ah.
See you next time.